Okay, so here's a really quick way to look at how you can keep audio and video together. I'm going to give you a couple of different scenarios here. Number one is if you have a project where you have a piece of video, like this one I have here with no audio on it, that was maybe shot on a camera, or at least little audio on it, and then maybe you have the audio
13-year-old boy
that was saved onto a Zoom device or a separate device. So if you have these, you can actually use Final Cut to synchronize them pretty easily. You simply connect the two of them together, select them both at the same time in your browser, right click and choose Synchronized Clips. And what this will do is it will ask you, like, what do you want to call this? And then you have a couple of ways to synchronize them. And without getting too crazy here, really, if you have a little bit of audio that you've recorded on camera plus some audio that you have on the better recording device, then you just check this box that says use audio for sync. That's pretty much it. When you say OK, it analyzes those two clips, finds the match, and creates a third clip for you, which puts the audio and the video together.
You look like a 13-year-old boy.
So that is the easiest way if you recorded separate audio, and a lot of high-end productions will do exactly that. They'll shoot with a nice DSLR and keep the audio separated on another device, a Zoom or a Tascam or something like that. So then I like to sync them up right here using that Synchronized Clips. But I'm going to show you some other options if you perhaps have already edited some things together, and you may have something that looks like this on your timeline, where you already have the sound and the audio.
Just not going to talk about that thing on your face?
And they may feel like they're totally separate, and you want them to stay together. When you move things around, when you edit, you want them to stay together. So I'm going to show you how to put those together in what we call a compound clip. You can highlight the two of them just like this. Again, I just drew my marquee, click and drag and draw my marquee over the top. Right click, new compound clip, and I can give it a name, and I would call this, whatever it is, scene 1-1, or whatever it is, because when I hit OK, watch what happens. It condenses it down. Here's the thing I love about, there's a good and a bad about having consolidated clips like this, or compound clips. Notice that it made me a clip up here called scene 1 right there, 1-1, and it's being used. Down here it looks like a normal clip, but if you double click right here on this icon, I am now inside that clip. I no longer have my full timeline that I was working on. I'm inside that clip, and it's showing me 1 and 2, and they are staying together. I use this little arrow to back out to my main timeline. If you look at this, here is my kind of a breadcrumb. Project I was working on inside a clip. So if I want to step back to the project I was working on, I just step back, and there's the project. And it's synced together. So that was a compound clip. I'm going to show you another method down here at this end for keeping your audio and your video together. Here's one where my audio and my video are together. They haven't been detached. One is just expanded, and that you can do by double clicking on the audio. That gives you a little more fine-tuning control on where that audio comes in versus the video, because sometimes you want your audio to start first, even though you want it to stay attached to that video. So a double clip gives you a chance to adjust the ins and outs of audio separate from video. But let's say, for instance, I have a little animation here. And it's just a couple of sounds that I like. I like the way they all run together. Here's a place where I can do that compound clip. I grab everything together rather than worry about these getting shuffled or moved out of the way. Right click, new compound, name it Movember Stinger, hit return, boom. It just collapsed them all for me. If I need to adjust anything, I go right there to that icon. So then it's all zoomed in right inside of one clip. So I can make some adjustments here if I want to. And when I step back out to the main timeline, that adjustment will happen here. So that's one thing. Here's another one that I really like. And this again can be helpful if you have something like this, where if you notice I have a crash and all these things happening again when an animation happens. And maybe I want to move some things around. But if you notice, certain parts of that crash come with me, and some of them get left behind. And so one thing that I found helpful, and this may be beyond what you're asking, but I'm looking at this opportunity to kind of dictate where my attached audio attaches. By default, anything that you drag down and into your timeline, see if I bring something down, by default it just has a little connector at the very beginning. But if I wanted it to span a couple of clips, and again, it can go above or below, wherever I want that to be, right now it's attached to this one. But maybe whatever my audio is makes more sense being attached over here. But I want it to land right where it's landing. So how do I change where that connector happens? If you look at that connector, where do I change that? Well, here's the answer to that. You can hold down Command and Option at the same time and tap on a clip. Did you notice what that just did? Command and Option at the same time moved my connector from the very beginning of the clip to where I had my playhead. So here's my playhead. Current connector on Crash Metals over on the left side. Let's say for some reason I need to connect it to this clip, which is a different clip. Put my playhead there, hold down Command and Option while I click on the connecting clip, and you can see it right underneath there. It moved my connector over to this clip. So that's a couple of ways to keep your audio and video together. So again, we're looking at the front end of this piece. I did the example here of a compound clip. Very first thing I showed you was how to do it in the browser by using a Synchronize. If both pieces have a little bit of audio that matches, again, from different sources, that works well. If they don't and you arbitrarily put them together, a compound clip works. And the other thing that works really well besides compound is just forcing that connection to happen to to stick to the clip that you want. If this is a main part of my piece and I want these clips to attach to it so that I can move them together, I can force that by doing that Command Option, click option, and right everywhere you click is where that connection goes. I hope that helps in working with audio and video at the same time, keeping them connected. There's a couple of ways to do it, so hope that helps.